Hi, boys and girls, lads and lassies. Welcome back to Wednesday Night Movies. First one in a wee while. And we start it with the classic Flash Gordon, 1980s. How would you round this movie up? Initially looking at it, it's corny. The CGI is no great. The acting is overacted. The whole simple system of it is overly complex. But my God, it's a hell of a fun movie to watch.
For me, it's a fun film. It's stylistic. It's got everything you expect of very late, early 80s sci-fi film.
Yeah, but
You got
that's
the
what I'm saying. You look at some of the early 80s sci-fi movies, and they're vastly superior. The story's better, the special effects are better, the acting is better, and the way the situations are better. But they're not as good as this movie. I don't know what it is. It's just one of those movies that you go, oh, it's got this, it's got this, but don't care. It's fucking great.
It is, but we're literally right smack in the middle of the era when he brought sci-fi from the very early Doctor Who's, where you could tell it was like, let's just bolt some things together and just put it in the background, make it look some kind of futuristic. And then you have Star Wars days coming along in this 77, and wow, that was gorgeous in terms of effects, in terms of ships and everything, and that was creme de la creme. But Flash Gordon, right here in the middle, doesn't take itself too seriously, but by God, it's trying. It's really trying, and it makes it beautiful.
Yeah. And you look at it, it could not be made today, yet it's got a lot of the tropes they want to make today. You've got a couple of strong females in it.
Yep.
You've got the Dale, you've got Ming's daughter, and you've got the captain of the guard, whatever she was.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
General Carla.
So they were three fairly strong characters in it, but they were also starting about half naked with the
General Carla.
you know what I mean? But you've got the man is the hero, and the silly things that he's the way to win the battle was play football, and she's walking about round the side going, "Go Flash, go, go!"
Yeah.
And it's just so corny, but it's just so much. You're sitting there, it's corny with a smile on your face.
Yeah,
Because it's fun. It doesn't.
It's not
as Jim
trying.
says, it doesn't take itself seriously.
No, exactly. It's not
It's
trying to be a serious
entertaining.
film.
Yeah, and that's
and
what's good about it. The music is great. As I was saying to Alex, that I'm no one that bothers with music within the music. I notice when it's not there, because if you watch something that they take the music off and it's just silent, you notice it. But when there's good music in it, to me, the music you shouldn't notice because it's just there to build the tension or the levity or something, so to enhance the scene. But with this one, I'm not a great one for music, but Flash. You know what I mean? It's
Well, you
just
can't
fun.
beat Queen. You can't beat a bit of Queen for a soundtrack.
I'm not.
Yes.
Yeah,
Spot on.
See, I'm not a big one
Excellent
for
shirt.
music. I'm not a big one for music.
Colin's already made. That was his hello this afternoon, evening.
Yes, yes.
Or is it this one?
Is that the Bee Gees?
So that was the Bee Gees singing Flash. There you go.
Yeah, it was definitely as high pitched as the Bee Gees. Yep.
Yeah. The Bee Gees.
That was definitely Bee Gees.
Yeah, Bee Gees in the Flash Gordon wouldn't have worked. It'd be too disco.
But you see, the thing is, as Colin said, gloriously overacted.
Absolutely.
It was so overacted by everyone. Timothy Dalton, Bernard Britt. It was just over the top, and it was you're sitting there and you're not sitting there going, "Oh, that's a wee bit," or "Oh, that's a wee." You're not. You're just sitting there going and enjoying it.
It's almost like watching a musical in a way, because it's just meant to just entertain.
Yeah.
You enjoy the music. It's very camp and over the top, but in the best possible way, I think. I remember seeing this when it came out originally, and absolutely loving it. And all my friends were into it, and I can remember we just we're so we had so much fun with it. And then all these years later, watching it again the other day, just in preparation for this stream, it was we just had a ball watching it. It was great fun. It's also, spawned some of the most well-known catchphrases.
Yeah, memes, catchphrases, you know it. Flash Gordon's alive. We've only got Flash, I love you, but we've only got 14 hours to save the real. And stupid things like, for instance, Zarkov. We've only got 14 hours, 10 minutes, and 20 seconds, approximately.
But that's a very Spock thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's basically overacting. It's over the top, but it's fun. You can see them when they're doing it. They're not given to the weird Shakespearean actors. They're just basically hamming it up, and they're having fun with it. And it's like, to me, it's like watching a good school play.
Yep.
It's over the top, and you're just sitting that back going, "Oh, this is fun. I wasn't expecting it to be this good, but
it is an element missing today. It is, you can tell when the actors on set, regardless of what went on behind the scenes, when they were on set, you can tell it looked like they were having fun with what they were doing, even if they hated each other. They had fun, good old just fun.
Do we know how they got on set? Do we have any tidbits about that?
So I met both Sam J. Jones and Brian Blessed at the same time in the VIP area. So I had good fun with them. I got to talk to them face to face without the whole pressure and everything. They hadn't met for a very long time since Flash Gordon was made. And I believe this was one of the first times they got back together. And they just seemed like the bestest of buddies that hadn't seen each other in years. And I don't recall Sam J. Jones or Brian Blessed having anything negative to say about this. Oh, well, depending on how you consider it negative, because Brian Blessed said he didn't like being scorned by the audio department, because when he was crashing through the styrofoam walls and everything, he was doing his own sound effects and just going, "Hiya, kapow."
Why am I not surprised?
You can just imagine him actually doing that, can't you?
Go ahead, Jim.
No, I was going to say that is the only thing I can think of that they might have marked down as, oh, okay, it wasn't as fun, because they had to keep telling him constantly, "We will add the audio effects after the film is done."
He's primarily a stage actor, isn't he, Brian Blessed, as well? So
yes, he's fantastic. When I don't sing me, I'm going to actually sort of start. I've had a couple of questions, and no, I'm not a granda yet. Not at all. I'm still waiting. 2 days late, and she's still waiting happily. Sorry, Brian Blessed, yes, he is over the top, but he's always fun. You look at him in Blackadder, the first one.
Oh, yeah. You
how much he overplays that as well.
You cannot not adore Brian Blessed. He's mad and larger than life and wonderful in everything that he does. And I loved him in the Blackadder bits that he was in, and anything he's done. I've watched him in a lot of the Shakespearean adaptations that Kenneth Branagh did, where he made films and things, and he cast Brian Blessed in various things, and he's marvelous. He's just, and of course he was also originally in what's the Roman I Claudius.
I Claudius.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
And
he
obviously
started-
Z-Cars and all that. But
Yeah, Z-Cars.
a lot of people forget that he's in I, Claudius.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what a career, you know, what an interesting.
Yeah.
And I think he's famously punched a few people inadvertently, hasn't he? He's like knocked a few people out by mistake because he's
his hands. He talks with his hands. His hands are always yes, man, you should do it.
Yes, he would have been understated in I, Claudius.
He's so over the top with it, and it's fun over the top.
Mm-hmm.
So it is.
Absolutely.
I've got to say about Brian Blessed is that sometimes I've seen him without his beard, but with the beard he's more iconic.
Yes.
Yes. It doesn't seem like him.
Yeah. And another thing is that he knows how to steal the show.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Even when he's playing a series role, he still does that.
Yeah.
And Colin saying he used to call I Claudius I Claudius. I used to call it I Claudius as well. But let's see. Let's have a quick look at some of the stuff Brian had been in, apart from this one, because obviously there's so many. Yeah, I mean, we all know what. Do you know I didn't actually realise who played Clytus? Peter Wingrid.
Yep.
Basically, what was his name? The fop. Jeez. It was it was right in the tip of my tongue, and as soon as I went to say it, it went. It was a '60s detective, over the top.
Yeah, Jason King, Department S.
Jason King. Yeah, Jason King. It just basically, as soon as I was about to say it, it went. No, brain switched off. Thank you very much. Don't need it at the moment. Ooh. And that's what it felt like. But anyway, Brian Blessed, let's have a look. So just fired up IMDb with Brian's. Right, we'll go back to his early stuff. We're not talking about his new stuff because he's still going strong. So his earliest stuff is 1959. 6 years before I was born. Jesus Christ, and he was acting. And he's still going. That's him acting before 6 years before I was born, not just actually just a wee bit older than me. Shows you how long he's been in the business. So he was in Saturday Playhouse and Ghost Squad, Christmas Tree, Nothing Major, Three Musketeers, a TV series. He played Porthos. Imagine him doing that. Yep. And he also did Porthos in the Further Adventures. So there was 2 TV shows, 1967, and then the Further Adventures. So it must have been instead of season 2, they just called it something else. And that was the Further Adventures. The Avengers. He was in a couple of episodes of the Avengers. Randall Hopkirk. These are just the early stuff. He was in wee bits. Jack and Ori. He was a storyteller in Jack and Ori. I can imagine that. Just imagine
that would be
the stories you're growing up. Yeah.
Oh, Colin says Space 1999 twice, he thinks.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
He was in Space 1999. Was he not the girl who's she was?
He was my father.
Her father, innit?
Yeah, he was his father. He was also in Blake 7, I think, for one episode.
Yeah. So it was Space 1999 before he was in I Claudius. He was in the Basil Brush Show.
No way.
Yeah, as Captain Hook in the Basil in Neverland. He played Captain
That would have been
Hook.
a conversation. He did one another Gerard.
Late
he
7,
done another called The Day After Tomorrow. That was another Johansson TV show.
Yeah.
He was also in the pilot episode, or sort of pilot, of The Sweeney.
He was in Z-Cars as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Tales of the Unexpected. I used to love that show. That was fun. Blackadder, there he's there. The Hound of the Baskervilles. So he's been in a couple of ones like that. The Last Days of Pompeii. I can just imagine him playing that again. Well, we all knew he was in Doctor Who. Yeah, I mean, the Trial of a Time Lord. I mean, you that. Kenny Everett show. He was in with Kenny. Can you imagine him and Kenny?
I've got to
between
find a
takes?
clip.
Can you
I've got to
just
find a
imagine
clip.
him and Kenny
Yeah.
Everett between takes? The two of them were just so over the top. You could just imagine the two of them just having, and people going, oh, shut him up. But also want to sit back and no, actually shut them up. But God, he's been into so many stuff. Lovejoy. I'm just trying to see if there's anything Agincourt. He's done a lot of, obviously, he's been knights and stuff like that. Hamlet, he's obviously done stuff like that. The History of Tom Jones, a foundling.
Hmm.
Never seen that one.
I can't
Star
say
Wars,
that.
A Phantom Menace.
Yep. He played Santa Claus in Sooty and Co. That must have been a show to remember.
Adam's Family Tree. Tarzan. He's done a lot of voice stuff as well.
Oh, I don't doubt it. Yeah,
Look
with
at
that
some of the
voice.
stuff he's actually been in, but he's still going strong. Let's see what's the most ones that's coming out at pre-production. Best and
This
Bester
bit.
is a TV series. It's in post-production, and the Banking on Mr. Toad. It's in pre-production. So
Amazing.
And
Didn't I
considering
say-
he's been what 62 years he's been working.
Yeah.
That's just how long he's been working in this, the business, and that's since he's been credited on stuff. Do you imagine he's been doing all the extra stuff just to build up to that point?
Yep,
Oh,
he's definitely been hardworking, and he's enjoying life.
Yeah, he was in the new version of Wurzel Gummidge. Who was
he? I think we watched
Abraham Longshanks. He was the voice of Abraham Longshanks.
Oh, he was a voice. Okay.
I only did the voice. I think it's the Saucy Nancy. It was the ship. Was it not?
But it is literally his voice we know him for. Yes, we know what he looks like, but it is his boisterous nature that we know and really love about him.
Yeah, but that's just one of them. One of them. Yeah, I mean, you look at the other ones that are on it that are not the stars of it, because obviously you would say the three main stars are Sam Jones, Melanie Anderson, and Max von Sydow. Right?
Sydow.
But you've got, look at the other ones. Zarkov is Topol. You've got Timothy Dalton, Peter Wingate, Brian Blessed.
But you do have a hidden but very famous person in there. He's literally the writer, director, creator of I was going to say Frankenstein show, Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Richard O'Brien.
Yes, he played the one that was in the cage.
Yes.
Yep. Do you know who else was in this? She was one of the serving girls. Remember Carry On Emmanuel? Carry On Emmanuel. Suzanne Danielle. Yeah, I watched that 3 nights ago. Carry On Emmanuel. I was cataloguing my Carry On movies. So I thought, I'll fire a few of them up. So I was sitting watching them as I was working away. And I noticed she was in it. She just played one of the serving girls. But even the serving girls, do you see the bit when the two of them were fighting? Dale and the Princess Aurora were fighting, and the three girls just kept smiling and looking in. You can just imagine that, and I think there's just been a case of right, they two are fighting, you have just to have a wee laugh and you have to watch, and they've obviously been just enjoying it. You can just see them snake, and it looked natural. The grins actually look natural, as if they're sitting watching that, going, "This is hilarious! Look at the two of them."
Yeah,
and they were just having a laugh at it. Yeah, but there's definitely things in this movie they could not remake this movie at all.
No, sadly, which is a shame. You know, because
it's a shame because you had most of the women had bikinis on most of the time, or
bikini armor. If we put it
bikini armor,
it's almost that level,
or
yes.
Glittery.
But that's the fun part of it. I mean, we were coming out of the 70s. We were heading into the 80s. It was a time of, excess and Studio 54 and a celebration of, so many different things. And it is a shame because and I think this is why the film has stayed in people's hearts, because it does celebrate that time. And it will always stand as a sort of monument to that wonderful time of excess and just creative fun. It's just fun.
And I think, despite all the analytics we're getting from good creative people like the Critical Drinker, it is back then they dared to explore a little bit. I mean, this is by no means a film that is following religiously the books about Flash Gordon. I remember reading a book. This must have been, well, for the young one in the audience, back in the days, we had to have a library card and go to the library and then check out the book. And that's how I got it. And I remember vaguely what the book was about, but I don't really recall anything other than it was Flash Gordon, something about blue aliens, and there was an airfield they needed to infiltrate or something. And I've been searching for that book ever since. But it's just that kind of impression that it leaves. And they took that material, and rather than what, say, Disney's doing today, it's like, oh, we have no source material, we're going to make something completely new. Excuse me? There's an entire extended universe to Star Wars alone, let alone Star Trek, Babylon 5, Farscape, Deep Space Nine.
The problem is they don't want an extended universe because they can't actually understand canon. So there's no point having an extended universe because they won't say that, and somebody will say, "Oh, you can't because of that, which happened, that and that." They'll go, "Oh no, we just ignore that." So that's why they don't want it, because they don't want people turning around and saying, "You can't have him doing that with them because of this." They don't want.
Yet they keep rewriting canon.
Of course they do, but it's because they want it done a particular way, and people tell them they can't, so they just go, we can do what we want. But the thing is, they don't want. They can't write stories. The problem is,
I think it's twofold. One, they can't write stories to a certain degree, but they're so afraid, because if you are a writer and you're getting told, here is a 7-figure contract, you write the story, we make the film. We just have a few caveats. You have to do this. Whereas back in the day, if you look at something I love from back in the days, is trauma films, Toxic Avengers and Nuclear High School and stuff like that. They just threw something together, and they got the cheapest extras acting as main characters in the film. They grabbed whatever film gear they had and just made a film. It was so low budget that even Bruce Campbell was like, I can't do anything with this.
Hey, you leave Bruce Campbell out of this one.
No. Bruce Campbell is the king of B film.
He's a B movie king. He definitely is, and he's aware. He's about because he's booked the Chin, the Confession of a B movie actor.
Exactly, but he worked his butt off to get it done. But this was they were literally making films on like an empty tomato can and some water. That was literally what they had. And it's like, sorry, can't feed you, can't do anything, but hey, it's good fun project. Maybe you get some, maybe you don't get something. And I would say that a lot of the trauma films, they're actually good fun to watch today.
Yeah, because they're basically done. You look at the original Evil Dead. Yeah, I mean, Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, and that. It's basically just all thrown together. And it was just done based on what they could get their hands on.
But that is what they had to work with in the 70s, very early 80s. Looks like an interesting script. Let's see if we can't do something with it. Present it to an exec and say, hey, we need 5 million, 10 million, we can make this film. Maybe it will make money, maybe it won't, but it looks like an interesting story. And it wasn't like they were aiming for established fans. They were just saying, we're making something new.
Mm-hmm.
To take one of the biggest after Star Wars, Terminator. I'm not talking Terminator 2, I'm talking Terminator. Just the concept of a future, time traveling, assassin robots. Sounds very generic, and it had been done 100 times before. I remember it was like a cyborg series that had like 6 or 7. Yeah. You had Universal Soldier reanimate corpses, but you had Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren. You had very big stars to it.
Time Cop as well, with people coming back to actually correct stuff. You had Quantum Leap, you had stuff like that. But do you know what I think the biggest fault has been? It's not so much the fact is the remakes. The remakes are just as an issue, which to me is a continuation of the initial problem. The initial problem was, that movie was successful. Let's make number 2. Because yes, occasionally in the past they would actually say, let's continue that story. It wasn't because that was successful, let's make another story. They would say, well, it didn't finish the way we wanted it to, and it's got so much more. So if we can get the money, we'll make another movie to continue it. But you look at most of the stories of the time up until about the 90s, they could have been standalone movies. They didn't need a continuation.
Yep.
But now they actually say The Hobbit is to me the biggest one. Is there's the book, okay, write more stuff because we want 3 movies out of that. Why? Oh well, Lord of the Rings had 3 movies. Aye, but the Lord of the Rings books were like that, and you were cutting it down to get 3 books. Now you're taking a book like that and saying, right, we want the same 3 movies out of that. That's where it goes wrong, because they're already looking at having 3 or 4 movies out of a story. So the story's
they're looking
finished.
at the franchise, not
because the
not
movie's never going to
regarding
finish.
the content available.
I want to go to a movie, like for instance Terminator. You don't see Terminator 2, it doesn't matter, because Terminator can finish on its own. It doesn't matter. They're just extending the story. And then when they extend the story, you're sitting there thinking, well, why didn't they actually just go back years before and actually kill our grandfather? It would have saved all this problem, because then there's not got all these weapons that could kill a Terminator. Just go further back and kill the whole line. Then you don't need to worry about people actually destroying a Terminator, because nobody will have the weapons to do it. It becomes silly when they keep.
I've had for the longest time a different theory about that, because being a Star Trek geek fan, time travel, you travel too far back. Yes, you take out the one that becomes this one, but history has that kind of self-healing moment. So if you go too far
in the movies, only in the movies.
No. This is time travel in general, across books or anything. If you travel too far back to the Stone Age, and you just goes like, that is the one that is going to make the greatest grandmother to that child, and you take it out. No, it will be someone else, and they will get the same stories. They will gain the same thing. It's not about the genetic material. It is about the environment they grow up in, the stories they get told, how they're raised, how they're being brought up.
I agree with that. The part about the time travel stuff sorting itself out. A, we'll never know, because time travel's not real. B,
not yet.
No, it never will be. Time only flows in one direction. It might flow slowly in a black hole and things like that, but it still travels in the one direction.
Yeah, I'm no physicist, but I think as humanity evolves, we will find means and ways to solve things. We don't have. Let me give this as an example. We now have super fast broadband. across the entire planet, lightning fast. People sitting in Australia literally have no delay in what I'm saying other than the buffering of YouTube.
Yeah,
There's
'cause we
literally
can
no
talk
delay in
to
the signal.
Captain Cockney Spock in a one-to-one conversation without any delay. Yeah, on his channel.
But once we get to Mars, and I hope Elon Musk gets to be the one to do it, just because he has a lot of people saying he's not doing too great. He got the ideas, but not the means of delivery. But once we get to Mars, we will have a minimum of 4 minutes. This will literally be the fastest way you can communicate with Mars. It's 4 minutes there, 4 minutes back. At the furthest reach, and again, I'm not no astronomer or anything, I think it's 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back. So it's somewhere between 8 minutes and 80 minutes in terms of communication between the planets. But now we have that problem. We will find out or figure it out as a species how to make it quicker. Maybe not light speed, maybe no sci-fi stuff, but we will figure out a way of making it faster. Maybe not real time, but we will figure it out. But it is never really until we encounter the problems, and it is something we really want to make happen. That's when we actually make next leap in
I quite agree with that. They're going to be constantly moving forward, but there's going to be things that will not happen because it'll always stay within this realms of science fiction, or as some people say, science fantasy, because you're never going to be able to travel faster than the speed of light, no matter what, because that is the thing. They might actually find wormholes, but so things like that will never happen.
Exactly, but the
time.
scientific consensus, and I believe it was actually the British that had it, we cannot travel faster than the speed of sound. They were adamant that that could not happen.
Yeah, that was basically that was done at the time. That's why when you had people with cars, they would walk in front of them because of that speed would kill somebody. After 30 mile an hour, people's skin would fall off and stupid stuff like that. However, the consensus now is this faster than light travel is there's nothing can travel faster than light. So, and I think that is one of the universal constants, and I don't think they're ever going to beat that. And I think things like time travel is another one. They're never going to beat that. They'll come across black holes where time will slow down. So, if you're at the edge of a black hole or traveling faster through space, you might age a couple of seconds faster than me. However, you're never going to go back and meet me as a kid.
No,
and
that isn't the way we understand the universe today. Yeah. If you go too close to a black hole, your time will slow down. Everybody else will just move along nicely. But the whole thing of meeting yourself as a kid, I think that is something completely different. Yeah, but yes, you can time travel as it is. I could jump on a ship today. If it could reach light speed, I could just fly. If it could reach light speed, I just could travel away from Earth. And by the time I return, people on Earth would be 40, 50 years older, whatever they
so as I said, time travels in one direction. It may travel different speeds, but it's only traveling in one direction. You'll still never be able to go back and meet me before you left.
Exactly.
That's basically consensus of the fact is I'm very conservative with things like that, and I think things like the universal constants are never going to change. There's things that our understanding will change, but I don't think things like time travel is possible. I don't think traveling faster than the speed of light is possible. So we'll never actually be able to jump to Alpha Centauri, then back again within a couple of years. That's not going to happen.
No.
I think it is. Yes, the constant is there, but I think it will be more not a breaking of the rule, rather a bypassing. of the room.
Yeah.
We still have
Wormholes,
consequences
yes.
and whatnot, but
Aye, wormholes and stuff like that. Yes, I can understand that, but that's what I'm saying. It will not be the travel faster than the speed of light. It will be like a wormhole because they're already seeing the theories of these things. However, it will never travel faster than the speed of light. So yes, you might find a wormhole take you temporarily further than you could ever get.
yeah.
But
This is something to bring it back to Flash Gordon. They don't go too heavy into the science
of course
of the
not.
fiction part.
Uh-huh.
They
Of course
have
not.
gizmos, they have gadgets.
But the
not-
gadgets, even the gadgets are silly, which is fun.
Yep.
Right, I need one of you to put your foot in that while I'm flying this. Because, well, why do you need somebody to put a foot in it? Just put a brick on it. You know what I mean? It's silly things like that. It's we need another person. You need to stand there with your foot in it. You're the latest, so you're sitting there thinking, makes no sense. It's fun, but it makes no sense. But it's the fun part of it. Like for instance, a sword with a nice big cutting thingy, but right in the middle of that cutting thing is a big circle with a badge.
Yeah, that is for a little bit later on.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's things like that. It's silly, but we don't care. It's not scientific fact. It's fun science. It's the
Yeah.
kind of science that okay. You look at the original Flash Gordon movies, a TV show,
Yeah.
the black and white with the
Oh, the models. Yeah.
was sort of going like that as it
Yeah.
was flying past, and you could almost see the strings holding it together, and that was the fun part. But they were fun, and they took themselves a lot more seriously than this movie did.
Yeah.
I'll have to give a shout out to Colin's comment there. Heinlein, along with Arthur C. Clarke, both of those authors were really, really great to drag the science into their stories. But at the other end, they were also hypothesizing of what it really meant or what could maybe be done. One of my favorites is Have Spacesuit Will Travel.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, in that one, he actually goes into details in the book why a spacesuit is white. Not black, not orange, not red, not green, not blue. There is a reason it has to be white. It's because it doesn't heat up too much. Because if you have black coloring fabric and you're out in the sun, you know that you're heating up in no time whatsoever because the black color in the fabric is just absorbing the heat, the energy.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas white does not. And you don't really have that many cooling options in space, despite space being like negative 100 degrees or whatever it is.
I think it's negative 140 because it's absolute zero, isn't it?
I don't know the exact details, but in that book, I'm just saying he describes the reason why a spacesuit has white coloring rather than any other color.
Yep. The Buster Crab show. Buster Crab was great. Tarzan, the first Tarzan, Buster Crab, Flash Gordon, Buster Crab. Flash Gordon, basically Tarzan before Johnny Weissmuller. Johnny Weissmuller created the Tarzan scream. If you look at Buster Crab's Tarzan, his scream is just a ah! It's not I can't do
But
it.
the
I've always tried to
Weissmuller's
do it, but I
one
can't
is
do it.
almost operatic, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. But if you look at the Buster Crabs one, he's literally just screaming. So it's hilarious because we grew up watching Johnny Weissmuller. So anything away from that, you're sitting there going. But Buster Crab did Tarzan first on the TV. It's just that he's not the most iconic because he was more iconic as Flash Gordon. And he was also Buck Rogers.
Yes.
And remember, he was also Buck Rogers' in the Buck Rogers TV show afterwards.
Yep.
Buck Rogers is good.
Because you look at Buck Rogers, that was the one when all the pilots were being ill, and they brought the old two in, and Buck Rogers turned to him and says, "You sure you could fly?" He says, "I was flying before you were even born." And the fun thing is, he was the original Buck Rogers, who was playing Buck Rogers before he was born.
Was that Buster
And
Crab?
that was the joke. That was the joke. Buster Crab was in Buck Rogers, and he played the old guy who gave that line to Buck Rogers. Dale, can never remember whoever played Buck Rogers at the time. But yeah, he played Buck Rogers before he was born, and that's why they put that line in. "I was flying before you were born, son." And that's when Buck Rogers says, "Oh, I doubt it," because obviously he's meant to have been 500 years in the future. So it's a double-ended joke. The joke is a case of, "I've been flying before you were hanging." Well, I'm actually from the 20th century. I'm 500 years older than I look. And that was where the joke was. But the joke was, it was the fact that it was the original Buck Rogers saying that. And that's the fun part of it. So, but Buster Crab, it's still iconic. And it's amazing. People have absolutely no idea who Buster Crab is. Yet he played some of the iconic characters that people know, but they just don't know he played them. Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers, Tarzan, before the three who are known for them played them. And I'm sure they did a hell of a lot more. It's just that it would be nice to see him in this as well, even as a wee thing in the background that he wasn't. Because I was looking at it to see if I could find if he was in it. Because I know programs like that, sometimes they like to have someone in the background, even if it's just a guard. Not a lot to see, and it's something related to it. It's like remember the Addams Family? They did the movies, and they did the movie with the new Herman and all that. And then they went into the restaurant, and there was the originals sitting there. Going, "Oh, look at him." It was the only one, obviously, there was Fred, because he'd passed. The guy that played Herman, he'd passed, but the other ones were all there, and they were all going, he's the type of person. It was really nice, and that, stuff like that. It was just fun that they do that. I was hoping they were going to do it with something like Flash Gordon, but no, they didn't, which was just unfortunate. But I'm not entirely sure Buster Crab was actually still alive, I think. So,
I don't know when we lost Buster Crab.
1983.
1983. 83.
Yeah, 19. Yeah, it's there. He was born in 1908 and he died in 1983, age 75. So he would have been still around when.
So he was still reasonably young when he passed. He was only 75.
So he was.
So he could have conceivably.
It could have been a case of, because he was in a movie in 1980, so it might have been couldn't he, because of the conflicts. He was one in the Alien Dead. He played Sheriff Kowalski in the Alien Dead, and that was the year after he played the Brigadier Gordon in Flash Gordon. So sorry, he played Buck Rogers and he played Brigadier Gordon, and I think that was the thing, because he played Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon. They called him Brigadier Gordon in the Buck Rogers movie, in the Buck Rogers TV show. So they at least paid homage to him, and that was the nice thing. I just thought things like that, I would like to see if they were doing a remake like Flash Gordon, he would have been in that. Or if they did something about Tarzan, he would have been in that. But he never did anything like that afterwards. It's just a shame.
It would have been nice, but I'm not sure if he was available or.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There was a movie. He was in a movie in 1980. And he was in a movie in 1979 as well, so he might have just had conflict. He was in two things in 1979. I would assume that's when Flash Gordon was being filming. He was in the Buck Rogers thing, and he was also in one called Swim Team.
Yep.
Rock Sands. How's that for a name for a character? Rock Sands.
I always think of the police when I hear that one.
Roxanne!
That's another blast from the past. I did drop a DM to you, PJ. It should have been cashed up by now.
Yes, you want me to put it on?
Well, only if you want to, but I'm feeling quite proud to have experienced that.
Right, here we go.
Lovely.
Right. Make sure I put sound on. Okay.
15 seconds between sets. 35 minutes. No using the phone, no talking.
It's just a shame you can't really hear it too well.
It's lovely to see them, though. I can see him talking with his hands. And that is so blessed, isn't it?
Do you know what I find unusual about stuff like that? Is right. Say, for instance, we bumped into each other. We would sit and gap. We would stand and gap in the middle of a crowd. People would be walking past, left, right. How many people actually, when they stop and gab, people gather round to listen to them and take pictures of them as they're sitting gabbing to the person in front of them without paying attention to all that around them.
Yeah,
I will say this was the VIP lounge at Sci-Fi Weekend in
you
Sheffield.
look at that, the two of them are sitting having a gab, and the people are just all gathered round, listening and watching and taking pictures and video, and it's just just goes to show how out of it they are. It's respect, because if we were having a gab and suddenly people started gathering around us and watching us, you'd be going,
Yeah.
and it's just that's what I'm saying. It's just so weird.
Yeah, but no, I was fortunate enough to be part of the VIP lounge there, which is why I got that footage.
That's
And
lovely.
it was literally meant to be a meet and greet with the VIP people. I've been part of the Sci-Fi Weekend for almost a decade at this time, so we were veterans, but we were told this is literally the first time the guys get to meet in years, if not even since the film was made.
Wow.
And can just sit down and have a chat. And everybody literally just backed off, let them have a good, quick chat.
Yeah.
And they had it for about 10 minutes. And then they were back to just chatting with the rest of the VIP people.
Yeah. That's lovely. Very cool. You can see, is it Sam Jones?
Yes.
He's obviously kept himself quite fit. How old is he now? I mean, he must be in his 60s, maybe.
67.
Yeah, he was born in 54. So yeah, he's. I don't know what he's done since. Whether he's continued to do films. It looks like he was in a short-lived TV series after Flash Gordon called The Highwayman.
Yeah,
But I haven't really seen what he was.
He's kept active, but it's never been anything that really brought it up, because Flash Gordon got quite successful. And his own story, Sam J. Jones, is that the agency or the people representing him, they were trying to hold him out for bigger roles rather than just giving him some work to do.
Big mistake, yeah.
Also, he didn't get on well with the producer, and apparently his voice was dubbed through the entire film.
Yeah, listen to this one.
Really?
In 2018, Sam Jones played in something called Fury of the Fist and the Golden Fleece. He played Flash, Man with Golden Fleece. That was his character, Flash, Man with the Golden Fleece.
That's clever.
Well, all I can say from having met him is he seems to always be in good humor, always humble, And
Nice.
if you've seen the interview that he had with Critical Drinker, he tells a humble story about how he saved a woman's life, getting her out of an abusive relationship, not
Oh.
even realizing he did it. He was just being kind to her and showing her that, hey,
Yeah, but there are nice people out there.
there are nice people out there. And he was literally like, wow.
That's really cool. I didn't realize Drinker had interviewed him. That's cool.
Well, Drinker is the reason I spent way too much money this month.
Right, guys. Colin sent us this. Right. Share the screen again. Put my sound on. Right, you ready?
Hey, nice double teaming over there, whoever you are.
Gordon's the name, thanks.
We met Gordon?
I don't think so, Captain. We're from different times.
Gordon, where'd you learn to shoot like that?
I've been doing that sort of thing since before you were born, Captain.
You think so?
Young man, I know so.
That's lovely.
Hey, nice double teaming over there.
For some reason, it's on a loop. It plays it back twice. So it does. But
that's pretty cool.
It's basically, to me, that's the perfect homage. He's playing a different character, but they're actually used his name from one of the classic things he did in the show remake of another thing. And it's the wee quirky in-jokes, if you're a fan, that you understand it. But it still makes sense in the movie, in the show, if you don't understand it. Because he's making the joke about I'm old and you, that type of thing, and he goes, "You don't understand where I'm from." So in the TV show, it works, but if you know, it works as well, and that's what I love about things like that. So thank you, Colin, for firing that up. I would have had to go and hunt for it, or else
that was
I've had
pretty
to
cool.
fire up the episode to go and find it and then hunt through it. So thank you. But
I'm just going to ask you to throw it out to you. Have you seen the documentary about Sam J. Jones called Life After Flash?
I've not.
No.
You should give it a watch because he goes into pretty detail about what he had to go through after the film. Because apparently he didn't really get on with the producer. But you get all the people starting the Flash Gordon film talking in the documentary, talking about like the experiences on the set.
No, that would be actually quite good.
Interesting.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Especially if they're talking about how the set and making the movie and stuff like that.
Yep.
Because you look at that, the set, you look at the outfits, right? Let's just take a thing with the outfits. Like Ming the Merciless outfit. He could only
Don't look the outfits. I know how great they look now.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the outfit weighed 70 pounds. He could only stand up in it for about 10 minutes at a time because it was so heavy.
Yeah.
Right. And then you look at the first part when the three of them crash and you see all the guards, the wee metal faces and stuff like that.
I know.
And you see them sort of going like that because you know that they've just put bits of plastic here and sprayed it gold and stuff like that. And it looks like the things you would see in a school show.
Yeah.
However, it's still done with fun, and they actually like the guards, Ming's guards, when he's fighting them, they're actually all dressed like American football for that type of scene. Right, he's playing a barbaric game. Attack him like this, and you're sitting there thinking, why did you just not actually kill him?
But I feel sorry for Peter Wingard because having that mask on and trying to talk through.
Yeah, because you could see it was on a spring and it would sort of move slightly. But
there's got to be a scene where it kept falling off.
Oh, there must be. Or a bit when he's talking and it doesn't move and he's got his sword and I'm trying to eat. I'm trying to talk. Got like you.
Well, all I can say, I do like the model sets from the film. because they're trying to go back to the way of what it's supposed to look like back in the original serials.
Yeah, I did like the ships. They reminded
Yeah.
me so much of that.
But they put so much fine detail into them. And
Yes.
it's like they've really updated the effects on them and all.
Yeah, but
And
I
you
think
think-
that's what they did. They did it well, whereas they updated
Yeah.
the effects, but they still made them look
Yeah.
cheapish to the point
Yes.
where you can look at them and go, "Yep, I can see that from the original." Like, for instance, with the big long spike, the bit it actually skewered Ming.
I know.
That's
I
the kind
know.
of thing. You look at the old ones where they sort of go, zzz. The rocket has got a big long spike.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
they actually
that's
think rockets
sparkler.
have to be like a dart. So
Yeah.
when they're flying, it's a
It's just
different
I
rocket
fi- I
ship.
find
It's
it-
not
I find
your
it-
Planet Express.
I find it funny that back in the day when they did the Flash Gordon serials and the Buck Rogers ones, and when the rockets were flying along, there's sparklers shooting at the back.
Yes.
And you think to yourself, well, how the hell, they're going to go for a retake? And then what happens? Jerry Anderson comes along, changes the whole thing, how models are like made, and then you look at movies going along, especially with Flash Gordon, that they've really updated themselves.
Yeah. But you
And
look
it's
at it as
way
well.
away from
When
sparklers.
you're saying about doing a retake,
Yeah,
the thing is, it was always the same part. So if you ever see a ship going,
yeah.
it was the same every week. It was the same.
I know. But all I can
It's
say
just
is
the
that
different voices or something.
yeah.
Flash, what you don't fight?
The one thing I do like is that they usually kept the model effects as stock footage and all,
Yes.
and the amount of stock footage they use through these films.
But that was to me that it worked. Right, okay, I want for the first episode we're doing this, and this, right?
Yeah.
Keep them because we're going to use them because we're not going to be able to actually reshoot them every single time. But the thing is, it worked because it was good storytelling because you didn't need to actually see a spaceship actually look real. So it didn't matter if it was sort of wobbling like that as it was flying along and sparklers going out of it because the story they were telling you, it was just a visual. It'd be like somebody getting something and going, right, so we fly past like that, and that's all you needed.
The one thing I do like, I don't know if you've ever seen the episode of Star Trek Voyager where they done the homage to Flash Gordon.
Captain
Yes,
Proton.
I did.
Yeah.
Yes, those were fun.
I love the Captain Proton stuff with a big robot, a big square robot. Attack them! And running away.
Yeah, and you had Katie Maru
and playing Arachnia.
Yeah, but she really threw herself into that role.
Yeah, exactly.
She did.
So, Captain, you need to go in and do it. And then she didn't actually just go in and be Janeway. And it was Arachnia. She thrown herself right into it. And I think they all looked as if they were having fun in it. And it is because, right, you're playing ham it up because it's meant to be like this. There's the old Flash Gordon. There's the old Buck Rogers. This is what he's trying to
That's it. I mean, what fun it must have been for the actors, to have to just be able to go mad with that.
Yep. I would love to see more like that. But you look at the Adventures in Time and Space, the David Bradbury docudrama, right? It's meant to be a thingy. And how they were actually doing a bit, and then they recreated parts. And I want to see more like that, where they sort of play homage. So if I was watching a new movie, a remake of Car 54, Where Are You? Right?
Oh, right.
I want to see something. It's an actual homage. Maybe that the two cops are sitting watching a TV show, and it's not they're actually watching Car 54. They're actually watching a TV show based in the time, and it's actually in effect it's meant to be a homage to Car 54 that they're watching. It'd be like watching the new remake of Starsky and Hutch, not the part where they get out the car and there's Paul Michael Blasey and David Soul getting out the car and the two of them look at each other. That is just a nod, but one where maybe they're watching the TV and there's the old 70s cop show, but it's not Starsky and Hutch and the Zebra One. It's actually a cop show, but you can see they're using it as a homage to it.
How about that scene in the Remembrance of the Daleks where Ace switches on the TV, and the next thing you know, they mention a new science fiction TV show called Doctor, and then they cut that out. That scene out. A great metaphor.
It's the same idea as, like, for instance, they did the meta of where does the Peter Cushing's movies fall within the Doctor Who. If you heard the meta of how they fit into the Doctor Who timeline.
Yep.
And it's all to do with the fact that one of the companions, after travelling with the Doctor, tried to write a story, and they actually gave it to another person who knew had travelled, and they turned around and says, "No, you need to make it different enough that people don't start being curious about things." Hence the reason why it was a man it was his two granddaughters, and he was an inventor. So it was based on the Doctor stories that a companion travelled and met the Daleks. However, they have him as a man who created the TARDIS. And that's basically how the two Peter Cushing movies fit in, because they were actually TV productions of stories that people actually wrote who had travelled with the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So and I like things like that when somebody actually try and fit it in, because obviously they don't fit within the Doctor's stories at all, but they do because it's just companions telling the stories to the world in general.
Can I just mention the three people that were in this film? Deep Roy, Kenny Baker, and Malcolm Dixon as the background characters.
Kenny Baker, that's cool.
Kenny Baker, yep.
I didn't know Kenny Baker was in it.
Oh yeah, Kenny Baker, who played one of the dwarfs in it.
Do you know who was in it? Do you know who was in it? See the guy who played the Oompa Loompa in the new Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
Oh.
And remember he played I think he was in it.
I think that was a different one. At least in the latest one, but in the earlier ones, that might.
Oh no, the early Charlie, the
Gene Wilder one.
Not the Gene Wilder one, the one with.
You're talking about Johnny Depp one.
The Johnny Depp one. Remember, it was the same guy who played all the Oompa Loompas.
Yeah, that's Deep Roy.
He was in that. I did notice him because he's got a very distinct face, and it's obviously because he's been in so many of those classic movies.
And for a lot of TV shows and all.
He's been in a lot of TV shows, but classic movies, the James Bond ones and stuff like that. He's been in things like that. He's played so many good characters. When I saw it, I thought, oh, recognise him. I couldn't remember his name, but I recognised him. It's
just, the thing is that with those type of people, like, you don't think that, like, they're there just for bit parts. They're just like, they're not really, they're just standing around as extras. But they've done so much more compared to.
Yes.
I can't.
What happened there? Oh. Who's hung? Is it? It's not just me then. It's Alec. It's hung. Yes, can you two speak?
I can see you and Jim fine.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you two, because Jim was the same anything, you weren't saying anything. I thought, am I hung or is it you?
I thought my connection was going. I thought my connection was dropping.
You had a good freeze, something like this. This is where you got stuck.
Yeah.
For a few seconds, and then you got back.
You could have been worse. You could have been worse. That bugger took a picture of me the last time I hung, and I was sort of hanging like that. So he took a picture and posted it on Twitter where it froze with me going and something stupid, and it just looked absolutely weird.
It's been done before.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just the thing is, I do like the extras in films.
Yeah.
And
do you know? If you want to see good extras,
yeah,
that one I was saying, the new DVD box set I've got, Out of the Unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Have a look at that, and you see some people are just coming through at the early parts of their stage in their career. They're just extra standing in the back, or they've got a wee bit part. Because I noticed the guy who played the Charwaller in Are You Being Served?
I will say this. I agree with you. There
Oh,
is
you mean it
sometimes
ain't
where you
half
spot
Hotman?
extras in the background and everything.
Yeah.
But one of the surprises for me, I really liked shall we say, the first couple of seasons of Lucifer. It had to bounce through different production companies. I think it was like CBS, then Netflix, but Netflix decided to dump it, and then it went to Amazon, wherever. But Tom Wellington, that played Superman in Smallville, but he had kept himself out of the limelight for a lot of years. So you had this young teenager you could believe could be, say, like Flash Gordon. He's a quarterback, he's playing American football and everything. And suddenly it's a fit guy, probably in his mid-40s, graying hair, still got muscles and everything. It's like, I recognize him. But he bulked up a little bit, shall we say. He enjoyed good food and whatnot, so he wasn't like six-pack abs and all that. He was still fit. But it was like, I refused to go on IMDb for at least 4 episodes before it's like, I can't figure out who this guy is. I recognize him, and I couldn't even find his name on there because I didn't recognize Tom Wellington as a name, because I hadn't heard Tom Wellington in like 15 years. I hadn't heard anything about him. But he was playing a good... I'm probably confusing the terms, but he was a good antagonist toward Lucifer. And he was just creatively played. He played evil characters really good. He was just like a great performance, but he was that knowing on my mind, I know who this one is. I've seen him before. I've not watched Smallville to completion to disclose to be fair, but I watched like the first 5-6 seasons, so I should have recognized him more immediately. But again,
well, sorry, the guy I was talking about, Alex, was, Shafiq. He was in Ain't Half Hotman. He played the Charwalla. He's been in things like Minder. He's been in quite a lot. Remember the one about the school, Mind Your Language? He was in that.
Yeah, I know you're on about. Yeah.
He's been in Minder. He's been in Carry On Emmanuel. He's been in a couple of Carry On, Stand Up Virgin Soldier, things like that. He was in those, and he's in this as a bit part in the background. You just see him standing in the background as an extra in the crowd scene, and it's just seeing him very early on. And I'm trying to see if it's not even mentioned there. So he's not actually mentioned as part of the footage, because his earliest one was Ghost Squad as a waiter in 1963, and these ones he was just an extra standing in the back, so he's not credited or anything like that. So it's just fun to see things like that. So you see actors who became quite well known in this series. Some of them are just in the background as extras, and some of them have just got wee teeny bit parts out of the unknown. And it's fun to see things like that. Whereas I don't think, I must admit, for instance, Sam Jones and things like that, I can't remember seeing them in anything.
No, not me.
Out with that, is it that you actually see them early on? Obviously, Brian Blessed has been around. I mean, we grew up watching him, so we did see him in Doctor Who and Blackadder and stuff like that. So we did see him growing up, but and obviously Timothy Dalton, you've recognised him from things, but and even the Ming, the Max von
I can't pronounce his
Sydow.
last name.
Max von
Sydow.
Sydow, yeah.
Yeah.
So you've seen him in things, even Topol, you've seen him in things.
Oh yes.
However, things like Sam Jones, I think Flash Gordon was the third thing he did.
Yeah,
So
I think it was
this
around there.
early on, and he got a big
Mm.
part after two other small parts, as it were. And he actually, considering it was probably one of his biggest roles of the time,
Yeah.
it was just so
Um,
iconic.
I just want to mention about the sets on the film.
Mhm.
How I don't know where it was actually filmed in it, but you know the amount of detail and colourfulness of making those sets.
Yep.
You can't get away with what they did back then.
They were spectacular, weren't they? They very
Yeah.
stage-like, very
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially the flying castle and them on the
yes.
disc, and you got the spikes coming out.
Yes,
You-
and the fight with that, they were still fighting on it. And I'm
Yeah.
sitting there thinking they must be really very foamy, just so they think me, but they didn't look it. They looked actually as if those actually were still coming up, and they look, even if they were foam, they would probably, if you landed in it, you go, yeah, they were still fighting on it and falling, and they were doing it well. Because nowadays that would be all CGI in. There would be no way on earth they would have actors on anything, even if it's foam bits coming up.
I'm just wondering. I wonder if Brian Blessed kept his wings from the film.
That'd be funny. They'd be worth quite a bit now.
I know the amount of wire work they had to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hanging in the air, and you're not seeing really, you didn't see the strings, did you? Of them flying.
But see, the thing is, that was another thing as well. You see them all just, the wings just going, and that was them hovering. So it's not as if they actually went over the top to actually make the wings look as if they're like Barbarella. Remember the angel in Barbarella?
Oh, yes.
It's basically the wings came away out, and it basically, and they looked as if he was flying, but they were going slow, like you would expect something with the power. And this one, it just looked as if they were going. And they were, it wasn't even a case of doing that. They just seemed to be moving a wee teeny bit.
Can I just say something? It is a big difference because you watch Superman, and when you see him lying down, flying like that, you know he's on the box, right?
Yeah.
When they do that footage. But them hanging down from wires with their legs dangling and trying to act.
Yeah, it's quite impressive when you think about it.
And you think, I wonder how long they had to spend up there between takes.
Well, you look at the original Superman.
I know.
He would actually have a trampoline in front of the camera, so he would run and go boink and dive over the camera, so it looked as if he was flying.
Yeah.
And it basically the same idea. He would have a box, and then he would jump off the box as if he was landing, and then they would have the bits of them flying in the middle. But
but the best one of
just go like
that,
that. They would just stand there and go, and then the CGI would lift them off. Whereas things like that, they would actually bounce over the camera to make it look.
But the best one where you can tell this is as cheesy and cheeky as they can make it is Dean Kane's. Was it Lois and
Clark?
Yeah, Lois and Clark and Lois, or whatever it was called, because you can tell where he's like jumping off like a table or just like a foldable chair or something. So it looks like he's jumping in from something higher, and he's just landing. You can see every time he comes in for the heroic landing, you can tell it's like, no, it wasn't a heroic landing. They were just trying to do a perfect cutscene where he literally like jumped off like a couple of boxes or something just to look like he was landing in. And the same with his jump offs. And I don't even think he actually had a trampoline. I think he was just like jumping.
Another thing I liked is that Rocket Ajax battle scene, where they're all flying down, and trying to raid the rocket.
Yes.
And the amount of explosions that were going through that set.
Uh-huh.
I'm surprised nobody got really hurt.
Do you know what I thought was considering the whole movie, do you know what I thought was the corniest part? When they were actually at the end, the flyers come up, thanks, Flash.
Yeah.
To me, that was the corniest part of the whole movie. Considering everything that happened, I thought, that's dead corny. And I thought, really, I just thought that was corny after watching the whole movie.
I know.
But it just goes to show how much fun it was, that it's these silly things that you go, that's dead corny, and you're thinking, wait a minute, I just watched that movie and I thought that was corny. It was because it was so, even though it was so fun, corny. And that's the difference. It's corny to the point where they're not taking the piss out of the audience. They're not taking the piss out of themselves. Yeah. They're just having fun. And then basically saying to the audience, come and join us because look what we're doing. And they're not taking themselves seriously. And they're inviting the audience to come in and enjoy it. And that's
exactly. And look at it now. The main film we're discussing is Flash Gordon. We're touching on a lot of other films and everything. But I would also like to point out it's 420, which Americans apparently have a different kind of, shall we say, chemical substance idea about. But it's also 42 years ago since this film came out.
Yeah.
Wow.
420, 42. But we're discussing this film 42 years after it was made. Is this ever going to happen with anything Disney has released in the last, say, 7 years?
No,
I don't
not
think so.
particularly.
Jen, if you're going into that 420, 42, 42 years, there's 4 of us on screen, 2 of us with the camera on.
Sorry, I corrected it. There are 3 now.
Yeah. Well, I've got to say, the ending was brilliant, especially at the end where someone lifts up Ming's ring and you hear the laughter.
Yes,
because he's coming back.
This is the end.
Yeah. Yep.
And basically, they did. See, that's the good thing about a lot of these movies. They were a case of, it's finished. But they'll put a wee thing just in case. And it's just a wee laugh line at the end. But if they decide to make another movie, it's not going to have Ming, it's going to have the ring and But it's a case of they just give that wee bite just in case they might make it. But the thing is, it was a hope. It wasn't a case of this is the story. This is part 1 of the story, so we need 2 or 3 movies. This is the story. But we might actually, if you want us and we make it money, we might get another one.
Well,
and that's what it was. That's what I liked about it, because it was a case of, Bonnie, please, here, look, I'm just picking up the ring. Question mark. And that's, I didn't mind that with a movie when it had the wee thing, maybe it's not finished. Because if they did make a second one, they weren't actually making a part of a series. They were just making a second movie because that one was successful.
I was going to say, look at the producer, Dino De
Laurentiis.
That's it. The back catalogue he's had, which I'm looking at the moment, he's done Flash Gordon, the remake of King Kong, 2 Conan the Barbarian films, Halloween 2. You know, and you think this guy really had vision. The producer.
Right, sorry, I'm
because he also did
the directors and writers.
Well, he also did Barbarella. No, he produced Barbarella.
Barbarella's a fun movie. One of these ones we need to do. I love Barbarella. Because you look at Barbarella, Duran.
I know.
There's so many things that came from Barbarella because people loved it. There was groups called after it, and it's just so much. And even other movies took parts from it. You look at the Woody Allen, the one who they went in forward and he fell asleep. The sleeper. Right?
Oh yes, yeah.
Remember the bit when he went into the sex machine himself? that, as far as I remember, that was because of the Barbarella machine was she was in, and the guy was playing the organ, and she was sitting there, and he wanted to do something like that because of that. As far as I understood, he'd seen that and he thought, you could actually take that and make that a good fun scene. Hence the reason why he goes into the sex device himself.
He was an odd one, Woody Allen, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He is an odd one.
I just looked where it was. Flash Gordon was filmed. It was filmed in Britain at Elstree and Shepperton Studios,
and in Scotland. And
oh yes,
it's up in Skye.
Yeah,
I'm pretty title in Skye. I'm not too bright, and I'm awfully shy.
So really, they used the same set what they did on the first Star Wars film, like the same studio in Elstree. And
that was Colin just actually reminding about the Woody Allen, the sleepers. It was a Gasmatron.
Yes, yeah.
I've got the name of the airfield. It's called Broadfield Airfield, where the opening scene was.
Yeah. I think isn't that close to Pinewood Studios or whatever they call it? It's like west of London.
What, Shepperton?
It might be. I don't know. There's a big airfield.
No, the airfield was up in Scotland, but the studios, Elstree was in Elstree, north of London.
The airstrip is actually on a small Skye. It's just a wee Isle of Skye. It's not a big airport type. That's what they're thinking. It's just a wee landing strip.
It's basically all these people saying, "Go green," and I'm flying a private jet. That's the people that land it.
It's basically it would land maybe a 12-seater, maybe a 30-seater, but it's not a jumbo. It's basically the smaller aircraft it would take. So it is. So So it's not. It's when you're thinking of an airport and an airstrip, it's literally an airstrip. So it's literally like imagine a. It's that type of airstrip. It's not a one for jumbos and stuff. It's you can imagine Spitfires taking off from it. So it's because Isle of Skye it's not a big enormous island. It's got a fair sized population, but it's not a big enormous island, so it's not got the big airport.
Yeah. Do you want to bring up the comment about what Colin's mentioned about Shepperton? If it's okay.
Yep, Shepperton outside London.
It got mentioned in War of the Worlds. Yep.
That's cool.
And he did that. Nice.
Very nice.
Very good. I've drank in places that's been mentioned, and I've stood where movies have been made. You ever see Unleashed? Danny the Dog, Jet Li, Morgan Freeman, Bob Hodgkin. It's about the guy who was
Unleashed.
Unleashed.
It's called, yes.
Yeah, well, that was filmed in Glasgow, and there's a bit where the car comes round the corner, they get out and go into the pub. Well, that is actually just a wee cobbled street, and you can't drive through it. It's literally the car literally had to come round, and then it stopped. And to get the car out, they had to reverse it back around because they couldn't. There's nowhere it to go forward, nowhere for it to turn or anything. They had to literally bring it round.
It's literally just like a walking street. There's like very too narrow.
It's as broad as the car,
the
turn. And that's the bit where the pub is, and it's called Sloan's because you see them stepping on, and it says Sloan's on the step. You can just see we used to drink in there. So we did. So that's why when they came round, there's Sloan's. And there's the part where they drive by and you see the cranes. It's the Port Glasgow cranes and stuff like that, or the bit up at the back of when they're actually going to the musical school. That's the back up at the back end of Cowcaddens and stuff like that. So we've travelled past up there and stuff like that, and it's fun to see things. Oh, I know where that is. I know where that is. Been there, done that, and it's that when you see a movie. It's we did that when we were.
I had the same thing, and I think it destroys a little bit of the immersive level.
It does, because
watching a film, because
Yeah.
you know what it is, and one of the films that stand out most to me, it's Gerard, whatever his name is. You know, he's playing cheeky, tough guy, action hero. And he did an action film trying to escape in London, as in the Parliament has fallen or something like that. And he's driving from Finsbury Park down to Parliament in like 30 seconds. I'm just
I know.
It's like, even if I fired a rocket from like a bazooka, it would take it 5 minutes to get from Finsbury Park down to London.
Do you want to see one about Glasgow, which we all found was hilarious? You remember the one about the zombie outbreak where they had the wall?
Yeah, World War Z.
Eh?
World War Z.
World War Z. No. The zombie outbreak, they've got the wall, and it's Scotland. All the zombie.
I think I know what you're on about, yeah.
Basically, so that happens in Scotland. So the thing mean they've got the wall. They were originally going to set that up in Florida, but they reckon it was too big. So a wall across the bit of Florida for all the infected to put in. So they did it in Scotland, and you see them get in to it says it's a hospital. Well, in Glasgow there is a building and it's called a hospital. However, it was an old hospital in like the Victorian age. It's just it's an office block, but they've still got it set up as if it's a hospital. You see the bit where they go down to the train, and then you're sitting there thinking, that's meant to be behind me, but that's the subway. Stuff like that. And it's a case of, yes, it takes the immersion out, because that's not Glasgow. That's not that. Okay. Glasgow's not like that. It does take you out of it when you know what they're doing.
Yeah, can I go back to mention what Jim said earlier about trying to get from Finsbury to Parliament, right? In a certain amount of time. I like it when they get most of like it completely wrong. Like, you see one thing and then they're in a different location, and you think, yeah, but it's not going to be like that in real life. See, I was a cycle crew in London. I saw it wall to wall with traffic. Right? You see it in the films. Okay.
Well, it's the same as like when they drive up and park right outside the building they're getting into.
Yeah.
Sorry, when I'm driving up, it's a case of,
where's the parking space?
Where the hell do you find parking space?
Oh, there's a parking space up there. It just takes you 10 minutes to walk back.
Oh, no.
Right, sure. Even in Glasgow, it's like that. It's when they actually do stuff, and you're sitting there thinking, no.
I just like it when they mention one street name and they've got it, and they get out of the car or something, and it says a different street name.
Well, a film I have issues with, even though they don't do the logistics too much. Although the chase scene at the end of it here in London is a film called Notting Hill. He owns a bookshop in Notting Hill, and romantic blah blah blah, all that ensues, and then he has to get in a dodgy, and we're not talking modern day Mini Cooper.
Yeah,
we're talking the early day Mini Cooper. Getting across London to any of the close airports, and I'm not sure exactly which airport they're actually being at, where he's like trying to chase the love of his life down.
Yeah.
And I'm just going, it's like, that's an hour drive from central London.
Yeah.
Right. Before we go any further, when I believe you're needing to bow out.
I'm just going to have to bow out. Lovely chaps, because
But we haven't.
I'm
seen
running out of steam
Nosferatu.
today.
But we haven't.
I'm
seen
running out of steam
Nosferatu.
today. I just seem to be hitting a wall today.
Yeah.
It's been working on me the last couple of days. I haven't felt too fantastic, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna
definitely.
have an
You take
early
care of
night,
you.
I think.
Definitely.
Yeah, Wendy.
No, absolutely, definitely. And
And
like
I can
I said,
honestly
I
say,
will share.
I can honestly say, Wendy, I've still not got any messages, so I'm still not a grander.
Right.
My phone's always there.
When
just
you
in case.
find out, make sure you put that on Discord, because I'll
In
leave
all
my
fairness,
phone on.
as soon as I find out, the world will find.
Yes. Well,
You'll
very
hear me in
best of
Wales
luck.
from Scotland.
Yeah, well, very best of luck with that, and I hope you get some good news soon. And lovely to chat to all of you tonight. And
too,
I
as
look
always.
forward to the next one.
Saturday.
Yay!
Yes.
Can't wait.
Well, unless you have a little bit of panic on Saturday, of course, Peter.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Well, things might get a little lively. Yes,
it may
you
get a
never
little
know.
lively, but yes. So,
But I'll bid you good night, and good night to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us.
definitely.
And I'll let you continue on.
Take care,
See
Wendy.
you soon. Good night.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes, Jim, we are aware, Wendy, you're going to show us your toys. But
Well,
before you show us your
I was
toys-
expecting fierce resistance here from
no, God, no, you see,
Nosferatu or Wolfman.
No. Even I bow that Ash and the Wolfman can play second fiddle to these ones. These are quality.
Prepare yourself, everyone in the chat.
Well,
Yeah.
should
So
I
before we
start
show
with
them-
the?
Before we show them, what would you? I know it's a silly question. Out of 10, what would you give this? And what was your favourite part and what was your least favourite part? Not the part you thought was the worst, because I think this type of movie there's so much fun in it. There's nothing you could say that was really crap, that part. But there must have been a bit you went, nah.
Let's chuck Alex here into the deep part of the pool because it's his first time joining us here.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not saying that to be too mean. I know you love this.
Be mean.
No, well, I could be, but I also know that you love this, Flash Gordon. I know you love it.
Well, my rating for the film is got to be about 8 out of 10 because there were some moments where it dragged a little, and sometimes I think they went way over the top. But overall, what it kept together for my take of the film is the iconic soundtrack. And PJ, I know the soundtrack's not familiar with it. Well, you're not really into the soundtrack, but it's just the way the music played with the film. And
see, I understood that. That's what I'm saying. The music, if the music wasn't there, you'd miss it.
Yeah.
So the music should actually help you enjoy the program. And yes, there is some things like you look at Star Wars. There's the tune within Star Wars when you hear it, you know something's going to happen. The Jaws tune, or there's tunes in certain movies. You know, it's when their tune plays, the most iconic tune in that plays. Like you imagine, there's certain things like if somebody goes, they know what the movie is.
But this is where I like, and I know you guys, both of you. If I say Doctor Who, Third Doctor, Episode 7, you could tell me director, producer, writer, script actor, companion. You could do all that. If I'm looking like something like PD was just mimicking, that's Ennio Morricone doing the soundtrack to Spaghetti Western, although one of the best Western film ever made, which is The Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
Yep.
But I know
basically what's on screen at the moment.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
dibs on the ugly.
That's what I was going for, you bugger.
I just want to say something about the rock band Queen. Yes, they've done a fantastic soundtrack for this film, but they also did the soundtrack to Highlander.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Now, you can't get the actual Highlander soundtrack, but they turned it into the album It's a Kind of Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I liked, I love Queens overall because they matured through the ages. And the second one, where it's a kind of magic.
Yep.
That is my favorite. It's not Who Wants to Live Forever, although that's an awesome soundtrack or song as well.
Also, you got Princes of the Universe, which I think they used for the opening of Highlander, the TV series.
Yep.
So, yeah. And I think it is absolutely spot on with Queen doing the soundtrack for Flash Gordon. Now, I don't know about the soundtrack for the original serials of Flash Gordon, but I think sometimes, how can I put this? I watched a very old film the other day. The soundtrack was getting louder and louder, and you couldn't hear what was going on.
Yeah.
And sometimes they really overdo it with the soundtracks in the original films and the TV serials.
Yeah,
it's
it did, but it was it was a balance, and I think it's actually for me individually. There will be tons of people, and I'm sure I'll get ripped apart by people who are far more dug into this. But I think the fact that music, like PJ says, should be in the background. It should be supporting. It should be something you recognize, like Jaws, Star Wars. You know when these tunes, Indiana Jones, although Star Wars, Indiana Jones, it's the same conductor, John Williams.
I just want to add.
Up.
Yeah, I just want to add something else, especially the Lone Ranger using the William Tell overture.
Yes.
And you think, your William Tell overture, it's like slow and all this that, and then he comes to the end and he's like dun 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 dun, and that end sequence of the overture will always be associated with the Lone Ranger.
Yep.
And this is the thing about, like, with Queen's music for Flash Gordon, the Flash theme at the beginning, you just hear the iconic words, Clyosite on board, what plaything you said, and then it goes straight into the song, and it's like dun 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 dun, and then Freddie Mercury kicks in. There you go.
So when you were talking about that, I had it playing.
Yeah.
As you were talking about it, I thought that was quite a good way of doing it.
It's the massive, it's the build up.
Right. It just starts going.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why when you were talking about it, doing that, I started playing it, and it was going in the background.
And it worked. It worked through the film because they still use the same sound on certain scenes. Especially when Rocket Ajax is coming into crash landing, about to like pierce straight through Ming's chest, and you hear dun 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 dun, dun. And sometimes it feels like you're hearing the Jaws soundtrack.
Yep.
And it just really works well. That's all I can say. It really works well.
Yeah, but this is the why I love the classic films. It wasn't just what you saw. It wasn't just what you were told. It wasn't just how it was acted. It wasn't just the music playing in the background. It was the entire canopy of all of these things, everything under it, built together. And we may be laughing at low budget 80s films, like, oh, you didn't do it. It's like, when you really look through, they had orchestras, they had perfect framing of a shot, they had actors, maybe not Johnny Depp quality, can go into any kind of role.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you can't say that because you look at Topol One of these
Yes.
other the biggest movies was it Fiddler on the
Fiddler on
Roof?
the Roof. Yeah,
Yeah.
Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a musical, but it's still quite a serious movie.
Yep.
So it's not as if he's playing a part like Zarkov when he's gone, yes, I knew it was a prime number of the thing, and you're sitting there thinking, it's almost like he's deliberately they've said, right, it's a prime number, so he's made something else up, and it seems just as if he's just throwing this stuff out just because it sounds ridiculous, and he's having fun with it. So he's playing with it.
That comes back to another tangent, and this is what we're really talking about. What actually are the ingredients of making a really good film? One,
Yes.
actors really having fun.
Uh-huh.
Someone that can produce it.
Yeah, but no, actors having fun with the cringiest lines.
Exactly.
To the point where you don't mind their cringy lines.
Exactly. But you have behind the scenes people working the hardest to make sure that it works. Whether or not it's three skinny guys trying to haul Brian Blessed up on the fire thingy.
Yeah.
Or when they don't know how to finish the movie and one of the cameramen says, jump up and go, yes! And, and that's how they did it.
Yeah.
And basically because they didn't know how to finish it and the cameraman suggested, I'd just jump up and shout yes. And they did.
But that is one of the greatest nudges. Now that you mention it, Breakfast Club, the guy walking across the football field and goes at the end, let's go. Whoa. That's a nudge to the thing that is like, oh yeah, we finished the film. It's like, high five everybody. But he's on his own and he's just going, boom. I've always seen that as an homage rather than a nudge, an homage to films before.
I'm going to mention something. Brian Blessed is now going to be filmed, but he's really like absorbed it. That catchphrase, the words he says. Gordon's alive.
Gordon's alive.
Yeah.
Gordon's alive.
Yeah.
That's more how it delivers it. But I think it's only literally once in the film. It's not mentioned
once, and as you said, it's like there's a few memes out there, like "Beam me up, Scotty," or "You."
The "Beam me up, Scotty." I have to interrupt you here.
No.
I've seen the meme that isn't.
Let me finish first, then you can like me. So you've got the "Beam me up, Scotty." You've got "You dirty rat, you." Two things that were never said.
Rat, you.
Two things that were never said. So Kirk never says "Beam us up, Scotty." They would say "Put beam up" or "Scotty, energize." He never said "Beam me up, Scotty." And it's the same as James Cagg never says "You dirty rat, you." And it's because they've become memes, and Brian Blessed, in effect, has become a meme. And it's not a case of Flash Gordon's alive. It's not. That's not how people remember it. It's Flash Gordon's alive, and it's basically over exaggerated Brian Blessed because they know he said the words, but they're actually like me when I'm doing it. When I think about that scene, it's not a case of Flash Gordon's alive. It's a Flash Gordon's alive, and he's basically overplaying it. But yet, when you watch it, he's not.
I'm so more there with you, PJ, and there are plenty more. You have Casablanca.
Played against Sam.
Played against Sam, and he's just looking
come
at
on,
you,
Sam.
babe.
Play it. It's
Exactly. But when it comes to the "Beam me up, Scotty," my favorite meme is on the bathroom stall. Someone is typing, "Don't beam me up, Scott."
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Another thing I want to mention, that other line he used, "Who wants to live forever?"
Yes.
That's actually the third film in the Highlander series, isn't it?
No,
the bar scene.
Yeah, and well, they used it was in the line in the Queen song. I don't know if it was a title, but "Who wants to live forever?" But the way he says it in such an iconic way and say, "Right, let's go, lads. Who wants to live forever?" And that's it.
Yeah.
Well, this is where I love the meme culture,
Yeah.
but there are certain misconceptions where things come from and everything. And if I say to the two of you, come on, you apes, who wants to live
Live
forever?
forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Starship
source?
Trooper.
Actually, it was a First World War
Yeah.
captain saying it the first time, which was used by Heinlein in the book, which was then used by Paul Verhoeven in the film twice.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's a case of you never hear it from obscure writer or director or something.
Yeah.
It's always from something because it's usually a popular piece of media,
Yes.
shall we say, be it a comic book, a book, a old movie, a radio show. If these iconic lines are out there, that's when they start being repeated, or people actually go, and they start playing on it, and they incorporate something very similar to it
Yeah.
to their movies because I really like that line. Need to find a way to put that line in my book, my movie, my comic, my radio show, whatever. And then it's somebody else who's heard it. Oh, I like that. I'm going to remember that when I write a book or direct a movie. I want that in and stuff like that. And that's how it goes. And we are aware that anything we see is not the first time we've seen it. It's not the first time it's been there. It's came from somewhere else. So it might be going back to Beowulf or Indian folk tales or Native American stories of historical stories because they've been translated and other people have heard them and that kind of thing. So they've all become very popular. And that's, I must admit, is what I like.
Okay.
I like
Yeah,
it when we see something and we go, oh.
I like what Collins put down the bottom. I know you can't remember.
Sure, someone said, who wants to live forever? Line, and another crew replied, I'd quite like to actually. Oh God, where is
It can't be Star Trek, is it?
No, it's no Star Trek. It's a comedy, and it was nearly it's not like Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
It's something along those lines. And who wants to live forever? Oh, I quite like to actually. And I remember it. Oh, I don't think it was an animated one, so it's not like Futurama or anything like that. It was just basically one of I would quite like to actually. It was almost here. And I can't remember who said it. Oh bugger, that's it. It's going to annoy me. Let's do a search. You can find it when I say it.
Well, overall, yeah. So my rating's 8 out of 10.
Again,
my rating for it is going to be 8 out of 10 for this.
Aye, good. And your best part's obviously the soundtrack. What about anything?
No, the soundtrack.
Here and there.
The soundtrack. The worst low bits. It's just the iconic lines, the soundtrack, the wonderful models they did in it, the colourful costumes, and the sets. But the one thing I do hate the most is that Sam Jones had a bust up with Dino. I'm not going to pronounce his last name, but Sam Jones was redubbed for the film. And when I hear Sam Jones' voice,
you see, having met him and heard his real voice, I do not hear difference.
Yeah,
they picked someone really close to what he was always having, but it might have been that, say, his voice was breaking or he was stumbling. I know doing live shows like this, it's I'm sometimes conscious. It's like I'm mumbling or not saying the correct word or searching for the correct word. So I can see that, but it's really, really close to what his original actual voice is.
Yeah. Well, all I can say is is still a fantastic film with the biggest cult following ever. And I know I haven't been to a Comic-Con in ages, but you'll probably get some people out there still dress up.
Oh,
I just don't have the guns of
No.
Flash Gordon.
No.
And,
I must
I'm a little bit too short and a little bit too stocky.
90% of
see
people
soon.
out there are usually something in the last 5-10 years at Comic Cons.
Yeah.
You do get the occasional ones who go classic. Like occasionally I've seen a couple of people. I've seen one dressed as Ash with the boomstick and the chainsaw. I've seen one done as the original Punisher. She was great. Pure black outfit with the white belt, white boots, the guns and everything. It was just pure black and white. It was a classic comic book Punisher. I've seen things like that, but 90% of the time it's usually something between the last 5-10 years. You very rarely get something that's old.
Yeah.
You rarely get the classic cosplayers.
All I can say, the amount of work they put into the costumes in it, and these days the amount of work the cosplayers put into the costumes these days.
I used to do it myself. I used to do it myself. I've still got my last cosplay. I was in the middle of building before this, and I can't finish it. So it's still sitting there. My axe and my helmet, and I'm good.
I'm sure you'll figure a way out to make sure that it happens.
It's just I'll not be able to finish it. That's the problem. I'm aware of that. So if it's somebody, if I can give it to somebody who's want to go and finish it off, then no problem. I just know I can't. That's the problem. However, that's just my problem. Anyway, Jim, what would you give this out of 10? Your favourite part and your least favourite part?
We'll start off, and I actually have to go very fractional. I usually go 8, 8.5, 9, 9.5. I will have to give this a complete 9.9.
That's good.
It is not the perfect one, but everything they put into it, the cheekiness, the campiness, all of that, the set, the decor, even the costumes, even though they're cheap 80s thingies, I don't think the costume department had too much to work on, but they delivered above and beyond.
Yeah,
I will say that. If I'm gonna give something that is my favorite scene, if we dig down that deep, it is the battle. What is it? It's between Dalton and Jones. With the spikes coming up. And
the one you see over beside you on screen. You see the circle with the spikes and the two of them fighting on it.
Yep.
Now that's a good scene. And the fact that those are sticking up, we're aware they're foam, but they look as even at that, they look as if they're hard foam. So if somebody fell on it, it's not just going to go through and completely crumple because it looks as if they'd fallen it. If they actually fell right on it, it would boom and do some damage. Because
it would leave a bruise.
That's what I'm saying. And they actually look, because of that, he's sitting there thinking they would never do that scene now because too many actors would go, I might get hurt. So
today they would do a race and CGI everything.
They would literally be doing it in flat. They would actually CGI in it tipping. They would tip it slightly, but they would CGI in.
The camera would tilt, not the platform with it standing.
The platform nowadays, the platform would go like that, slight tips, so the actors know to lean against it, and then the camera would be giving it full tips. And all those spikes when they're walking around would be CGI with wee marks so they know not to stand on them. Yeah. And then there would be cutscenes where they fall right next to it and it just sort of scratches their arm. Whereas in that, it's a wide shot and you see the spikes. And even though you know they're not metal, you know they're actually going to be soar if they land on them. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. It's so well done that even nowadays they would not make it. Not they could not, they would not make it because I might get hurt doing that. You know what I mean? Or it would be that wide that it would be two stuntmen doing it.
And well, the thing is, it's a wide shot. You can't really replace the main actor with the stunt double because it's a wide shot continuously
that's what I'm
running.
saying.
But if I'm going to have to give,
that's when they actually go close in, and but on the whole, it's a majority. It's a wide shot of the fight, so you see the actual thing fully hitting, and you see them.
It's a proper carnival ride, isn't it? It is something you go to. Well, for us, it would be Alton Towers, but in America, it would be like a Florida carnival fair or whatever. But for us, it would be something they would introduce just for fun, and you wouldn't get hurt whatsoever. But it's literally balancing back and forth. You wouldn't conduct battle against someone else. Well, unless you would be 20-year-old me in the 90s.
I just want to mention one thing, especially the choreograph of doing the fight before they actually film it, and trying to get everything spot on, and they still doing it to that day to make sure nothing goes wrong.
Yes, even that, but we're still talking about the cheesy film. That I don't think they got the best of choreographers, stunt doubles, stunt actors, everything. Sam J. Jones and Dalton, they're actually the ones doing it. They got trained, but they're the ones really doing it on the screen. There might have been a few cuts where it was a stunt double.
Can I just mention,
not as today. Go ahead.
You say about the budget. I'm just looking at the budget now. It was between 20 to 27 million they spent on the budget, and I don't know what it is today, inflation. But the thing is, compared what
thinking of action films in that era, that actually sounds still low.
And the reason that failed is because it did not make its money back, and that's why how it got where it was.
Yeah, but just think, with that budget there, that is like very limited compared to what they're spending today on movies.
Oh God, aye.
Yeah.
Because 27 million, what's cost of value?
I would say it's about the 70 million, but I'm just taking it off the top of my head, kind of guessing.
And the thing is that for the model work, most of it was kit bashing. Let's go out and buy it off the shelves.
Right. So for 27 million.
Yeah.
$27 million and by a year. Right. So $27 million would be. I'm actually want to see what the year, the graph, the cost. It says this is meant to actually do it by date, but for some reason it's actually the values. No, it's not actually doing a compare. There it's there. The dollar. See, these websites are absolutely useless. You basically just want a calculation of it, and then what they do is they say, we'll give you a calculation, come in, and then they actually just mess you around and actually point you somewhere else and give you an information. So, and it basically, I hate it when they actually do that. How much is a dollar worth in 1980 compared to today? And then they go into a big long spiel about doing a comparison. That's not what I want. I want to actually know.
See, I've just looked at Barbara.
It is more challenging than that, but
right, okay.
Even so, say triple the values, thinking
No,
The film
it's
is
3.5 times the value. So it is.
yeah, but the thing in the film is approaching its 50th birthday.
94.5 million. That's how much 27 million in 1980 would be now. Just under 100 million.
Yeah, so this is not even a medium budget film.
Now, I know they've
But-
released the full. Yeah, sorry, Jim. Carry on.
No, you have a thought. I was going to
Well,
just
no, I
round
was
off.
going to say, I know they've released it in 4K these days. Now it's been released in 4K, but they haven't like remastered it, like gone over the special effects or anything like that. They've kept it all as it originally it was.
It's
And that's
just
what I
upscale.
appreciate.
And you know the main
No
cast for
problem.
this was actually signed up for multiple films, but they didn't do it because it wasn't successful. So if it had made a profit, there would have been Flash Gordon 2, 3, 4, or whatever. But they had already signed up the main cast for multiple movies. But because it didn't make its money back, so the sequels were never made.
Well, I'll move on to the negative part, and there is really not a negative part for me in this film, considering I'm giving it a
It's a lovely Sherry.
9.9.
Oh, Sherry.
Oh, Sherry, not seen you in a long time. Good to see you. But when it comes to negative part, it's more what scared me as a kid in the 80s. It is when they rip the goggles off one of the controllers.
Yeah.
And that was actually gruesome for me. I got actually really scared as a child, just seeing like the wires hanging out of the eye.
Do you know what that part reminded me of? The Necromongers. Remember the thing it was
Oh,
going
yeah,
with the thing
yes.
on its eye, and it was a seer.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me
It
of.
had that kind of thing because that was scary to me in the 80s.
Yeah.
But it is literally now as an adult, it's like, oh, really? Decapitation, like slow cutting, don't care at all.
What?
But the tiny format of me back in the 80s,
Yeah.
what the fuck is going?
I can't say
Well,
anything. When this movie came out, I had just left school.
I just want to ask, what did you think of the scene where General Clytus dies and you see like the eyes and the tongue popping out of that mask? That scared the hell out of me.
See, funny enough, when I saw this, none of it actually, because I just enjoyed it as a campy fun, so none of it seemed overly scary, if you know what I mean. Because I think if it was played more seriously, I think they may have been a bit more disturbing. But because it was played for campy fun, I thought they weren't over scary because they played it over the top. It's like Evil Dead. When I watched the Evil Dead the first time I saw it, because it was so over the top, so much blood and gore and all that, it didn't freak me out because it was over the top. Whereas then when I saw the Jason movies and you see the girl lying in bed and suddenly going, and then the knife just appearing through her neck, that freaked me out more. Yeah, it wasn't over the top blood and guts. It's just it was the knife coming out of her neck, and then you realize he's under the
that
bed.
is the unexpected part of it. It is when he rips the goggle off. There's no blood, there's no gore, there's no real violence. And my ex actually had the same thing regarding Wizards.
You broke your camera. Your mic. Sorry.
Yeah, I broke my microphone. I will have to fix that. So I will have to require a few things. I can hold on to it for a few seconds. But Wizards, Superman 3, when the woman is getting covered in tables and pulled in, that was her, like, nightmare, worst episode. There's no blood, there's no gore, there's just the implication something horrible is happening to the individual.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm saying. That for me is my worst scene, when the goggles get ripped off and you see the cables hanging out. I know today it's just mascara, it's prosthetics. It'll take someone like Adam Savage like 5 minutes to cook this up. But the visual effect for me was just like, oh, well, the rest of the film can be fun, everything, and then it just goes, and then back up, and it's campy and fun again. Even the end battle, all of that, just purely amazing.
Yeah.
I'll fix my microphone, and then I'll show off my toys. And
Yeah, I'll give you my company opinion. Right, this movie I would definitely give it a 9. Yes, it is corny. Yes, the dialogue isn't the greatest. Yes, it is overacted, but it's acted in such a way that it's just fun. It basically looked as if people were enjoying doing it. The overacting, the corny lines, go Flash, go Flash, go, and stuff like that, or Flash Gordon's alive, or we've only got 14 hours, 23 minutes, and 20 seconds approximately before the Earth is destroyed. Or Flash, I love you, but we've only got 14 hours to save the Earth, and stuff like that. The corny lines, but they were so much fun. I loved it. So that's why I think if it was a movie, it wasn't as fun, it would definitely be under 5. It would be one of those ones that is cringy, but this one isn't. As you said, the music's great in it because it basically it's got that right mix. It's fun. It's even the things that went against it for me were 2 things. One, the bit with the pilots at the beginning.
Yep.
I mean, this is not a second down. Could you sign it for my son? Oh, disappeared, gone. And it was a case of, what was the whole need for those pilots? Why didn't they just actually have him as the pilot?
Yeah.
And then it would have saved that problem. But it's almost a case of that whole part was why? Just to say, so the two of them could sit there and go, I saw you in the bar last night. I was going to speak to you, but I didn't. And it was corny, and having the 2 pilots there served no purpose. But it was a wee bit cringy. But it was still fun. It's just that I didn't see the point in it. That whole part of the scene was just with the 2 pilots didn't seem worthy of it. And sometimes when you see the props, like when the guy says, I do this for Mongo, die!
Yeah.
Frozen. And then Ming basically takes his sword off and moves his hand. Then you see him, and the sword is going. You can see it's a plastic sword, and it's literally you can see it's a plastic sword because you see it moving as he's meant to be holding it. However, those parts were just a wee niggly out part, and it didn't bother me. My favourite part of it. Oh, now there was one part I enjoyed, and I thought it was the bit with the worms.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, put your hand in. Yes, you're man enough, you coward. Oh, second down. Woohoo! Now it's your turn. That's not how it works. So you're changing the rule.
And you had Peter Duncan for that. Yeah, that Peter Duncan who went on to Blue Peter later on for that scene.
But that's what I'm saying. That was a fun scene. It was basically, yes, you knew fine well what was going to happen, as in none of the two were going to get bit. But did you, Peter Duncan, that's what I was going to say. I'm sitting there thinking, does he get a Blue Peter badge for that? I've come of age, I want to try it. Oh, you try to get your Blue Peter badge, son? That's what I was thinking. Because obviously, please kill me, please kill me. And it was fun. It was fun to watch that. But that whole scene was just a fun scene. I quite enjoyed that. That was my favourite part of it, I think. So what we're going to do next is we're going to see Jim's Then once we've seen Jim's toys, we're going to finish up. Some of us
Yeah.
have got work tomorrow. All of it actually, but that's not the point. We've all got to get back to work, and I've got to. And for next week, boys and girls, there's going to be a pack opening. You can see what it is. It's that, and I've got a collection. I bought a collection, so I've not had a look through. I just opened the box, picked one out just to have a quick look, and I will be opening the rest. So stay tuned for that. That'll be sometime in the week. That'll be uploaded. A box opening again.
I just sent you a private message on the private chat, but that's only for after the show.
Yeah. That's not an issue.
Okay. Come on, Jim, where are they?
Right, Jim, come on. I know you need to fix your mic, but on the fairness, we don't want to hear you. We just want to see your stuff.
If I do you know something, if I wanted a memorabilia from Flash Gordon, it would have to be the Rocket Ajax.
Yeah.
That would be a nice thing, but I'm gonna say you don't want to hear my dulcet tones. I know I'm not the greatest voice in the universe, but I'll share this. So let's share the items first, and then I'll show the shall we say the cool stuff.
Right, I'm actually going to put you onto the small screen again, and then we'll do that again. Oh. There you go.
This is the limited edition that I got, and it's Ming the Merciless and Flash Gordon. And I will say, for me personally, Ming looks really great, and these are kind of the collection toys that the big guys are getting, as Gary.
They've got the Cara Dune and stuff like that. I've seen a few of their stuff. They're actually getting the ones that when we were looking at them, they were $2,500.
These are the reason I might be a bit not too light on the Saturday show. Go is like, oh, these are the DVDs. I'm just gonna go. I know I spent too much money on these guys, but I'm also not the greatest photographer. Go ahead, Alex.
It's worthy. It's a worthy investment to you.
It definitely is. And the details of these characters, again, I do apologize. I'm not the greatest photographer on the planet, but he comes with the goblet that you see him initially, which is what I was trying to capture here.
Can I just say something, Jim? Can I just say something about that Ming? If you go back to Ming for a minute.
Yeah, here's Ming.
The amount of detail they put into the clothing is so iconic.
That's what we were saying. The clothing is actually silk and velvet.
I know.
Yep.
It's so absolutely brilliant, well detailed.
It's quality. Even the clothes are quality material.
Yeah, it is very high quality, and this is why me and my fat, clumsy fingers, I'm just like trying to move an arm so it gets into a good position. And it's like, I hear a crack, and I'm just going, oh crap, I destroyed like this really expensive toy. And it's like, don't do this. But no, the details is amazing. And if you've seen Ming in the previous one, I don't disagree with the way that the facial features and everything is here. And this is me doing the positioning, angling the arms, I'm putting the sword into the hands, which are replaceable.
Does the head turn?
Yeah. And I can twist the head to look in any different directions. I can move the arms.
That's a good
the
thing about
torso.
them. There are multiple points of articulation, but unlike a lot, they're not plastic joints.
Yeah.
They're
Exactly.
molded joints, aren't they?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a close-up of Ming. So you can see the facial features. And this is no larger than your thumbnail, really. But it is, just look at that goatee that he has. The eyebrows, the shaved head, the ears, the eyes. It just looks absolutely amazing.
I just want to ask: are the heads 3D printed in a way?
I believe they are, but it is not in a 3D printing material that I'm aware of.
No, yeah, no.
It's still soft and squishy. It's not firm and rigid. So I could probably push his cheekbones up a little bit higher if I had tiny fingers enough. But I would probably use like an earbud tip to like press it in. But again, I'm really cautious about this because I know my fat fingers would probably destroy these. But I do have a few more. Another Ming, and that's how it comes. It's a stand holding them up so that they can actually stand up on that, but you still have to balance the feet to make sure they stand. You can see he has goblets in hand. I have done the articulations of where the arms go, how the robe is like hanging down off the arms. And you do get really nice packaging. So this packaging, what you see in the background is actually the packaging that shows through. So you don't see the figurine or the statue right away. But that's what I did. Obviously, Flash Gordon's sword is massive. It's about the same size as he is. So that's why it's literally sticking out of the background cover. The next one. These are the boxes. This is how it came to me. You cannot buy this anymore because it's limited edition.
Yeah.
Because it's a double. It's both Ming and Flash Gordon together with extras that makes you able to build whatever you need to get it done. It will be shown in a few pictures later. These are the extras.
Yeah.
Just for Flash Gordon, how you can change his hands out, and you can still articulate them. And they have the Birdman's weapon, which Brian Blessed and his clan is using. But you have them for Flash Gordon. In the film, I don't think Flash Gordon actually wields any of these weapons, but you just. The scale will be shown in a couple of seconds.
They've got to bring out Brian Blessed figure.
Well, that's what I said. Do you know they've got 3 figures in the set? There's 2 Flash Gordons and 1 Ming. To me, they should have had Ming, Flash, and Dale, and then maybe the other 2, the Barin and Brian Blessed. They would have.
I would not have been able to afford that.
If I was getting it, I would have got the Barin. Sorry, I would have got Brian Blessed, Hawkman.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and I'm keeping my eyes out for that. But we have in the next shot, these are Ming's replaceable hands, and you'll see that there is actually the connectivity standing out here at the low left corner, how you connect it to the rest of it. But it is basically an articulating ball. You can change it to any angle, but it's meant to grab only a certain set of items. So you have to change it to something else depending on how you want to place it. Although I'm still struggling because, as I said, my big fat fingers. I'm turning an arm and I'm hearing it creak, and it's like, oh crap, did I destroy this?
You need a pair of tweezers.
Too much. It's just like someone with the really delicate hands to turn it around. And I haven't had them for a long time. I got them about 3 weeks ago. Here's the next one. I tried to make a different pose for Ming. So you see he has his ring of power, but he also has his sword. And the next one, I tried to shoot it from different angles. You can see Flash Gordon in the background. I'm still trying to make the fabric work, and it's like trying to squeeze, but there's still rigidity within it. But I do apologize. I am not the greatest photographer there is.
Yes, okay.
Here we have another one. I've tried to post them together to make it look like there is a battle or an action going on. Trying just a different angle. But again, not the greatest photographer. But yeah, these figurines are just awesome. And I'm thinking this kind of looks like Ming is trying to attack Flash Gordon, but he's ready with the defense. And this is the final. This is the final shot, just to give people an understanding that, okay, yes, these cost a little bit of money, but that's a wine bottle. So I could show my hand, I could show my arm, and saying, hey, this is how big they are. As the favorite internet meme is, this is a banana for scale. But I can't really translate that. So I chose a wine bottle. And you can see that the figurines are almost as tall as a wine bottle is.
Yeah. When you show the picture, I thought it'd be on the drink.
Well, I'm always on the drink. But what I'll do is, PJ, I hope you're around.
He'll be right back.
He said he'd be right back. I'll actually show them in front of my light camera and handling them with my hands, just to show that, yes, I do have them.
Have you got white gloves on you?
Oh, God. I'm not the white glove yet, no. But every place, even if it's the base station that literally allows them to stand up, that is like antibacterial wipe. Even if I know the air is clean, it's like I'm wiping it down because I paid a fair amount of this. It's probably like the rocket you have behind you. It's the...
Okay. I'm going to just go off topic. I know you want to show.
No. Go ahead. We're waiting for PJ.
When I'm got this on display, it does gather dust. I could have put some what do you call it? Coloured it down and that, or weathered it. But I choose to keep it. But where it's gathering dust, it feels like it's never been used, and that's the way I like it. It's like it's there, it's gathering dust, but I don't want to weather it. And the thing is, with those figurines, it's like the craftsmanship they put into it. It just shows the love. It shows the love what the people do with those figurines.
It's the same thing I love about these figurines. It is, I'm holding this in my hand, and
crash.
It does, but it is the articulation. I can move elbows, everything. I can change his head's direction. I can move elbows, knees, legs, foot, ankle, absolutely everything to make him stand as I want him to. And I'm still really, really careful. And I'll bring in everybody's
second,
favorite.
guys. I'll be back in a second, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is just an absolutely stunning figure. So jealous, so jealous. I like my Wolfman, I like my eyes, I like my Judge Dredd figures and stuff like that, but wow. Jealous.
No, I'm really happy, and the fact that they put so many details in, and
Yeah. Do you know what I would love to have seen? I wish they did a special edition. Did you see the black outfit?
I've seen that one, and
I would love to see
gorgeous.
that figure, and it also having a change of outfit with the skull cap and the black outfit. You imagine if they'd actually a change of outfit you could get for it with the black outfit. Just as extras. You know what I mean?
But as shown, he's about as tall as a wine bottle.
Well, some of us don't know wine bottles. Some of us do, obviously. But
well, he's about 8 size the times of an iron brew bottle. Now, literally, I'll do this for you, PJ. Let's angle him to correct.
Yeah. No, it's just a stunning model. It's literally, you can see the size of it. Yeah, you can see the size of it based on the fact that you've got it in your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just an absolutely stunner. So it's.
The trouble I have, but I'm still really cautious about exchanging the hands and everything, and trying to twist everything that you can. Holy crap! This is something I will never regret spending money on.
Jim, is it possible you could write in how much they cost in the private chats?
Yeah, I'll also put a link in there. Believe it.
Yeah, this is for everybody else. This comes from Big Chieftain Studios.
I know.
And I will give them a really great shout out.
Yeah,
their customer service
really good stuff.
for me was absolutely awesome.
Because can I just say something, Jim? The value of them in years to come, depending
they're already
on
the price on eBay have actually already gone up about 40% in compared to the actual price. So that's just the Ming one I've sent you in the private chat.
Ooh, that is going to be worth more probably in about 15 years' time.
Oh, yeah. Well, these are never leaving my collection.
I know.
Absolutely not.
That's the cost of them individually, and then obviously just the cost of them as a pair.
Yeah.
But as you can see, they're basically signature editions. One sold out completely.
I just want to say something. Right, going off topic. I'm still having trouble trying to get the Lego DeLorean. They're still sold out everywhere. But the amount of ridiculous.
Talking about DeLorean.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, we got.
Need to actually find this. Hold on. Pre-order. This is a pre-order, right? And I'm going to share this, Jim. Remember, we were talking about it the last time we were online.
Oh, you're not gonna steal my stuff, are you?
Right. Okay. Hold on. And
did I just see that? Oh,
yes, that's the one I want.
Oh, that is gorgeous.
But I want the one that is a limited edition. With it is Marty McFly from the third film, where he has the poncho, the cowboy.
Yeah, so that's just the vehicle.
Out.
That's just the vehicle. You don't get the figures with them. That's just the vehicle, and look at the price.
Yeah,
£850. However, if you go back,
I will say I this is something I saved up spare money for the last year, 12 months, 16 months. Yeah, that's the Marty McFly. That's the one I want. Well, I'm not sure I'll be able to save up enough money to get that one.
Well, yeah, I was going to just say about the Lego DeLorean. I'm still having trouble trying to retain one, but the thing is, what I've seen of people selling them on eBay for ridiculous amounts, I decided not to.
Yeah, I'm not
But
surprised because as you can
yeah.
see, the prices even of these ones.
Yeah, but that car is definitely going to go on eBay down the line for over $1,000.
Oh,
Even
easily.
if
If
keep
you
it,
bought
yeah.
that, and basically this is just the pre-order, so you still have to pre-order it. They still have to. How many are they doing?
Yeah.
How many they do? Normally they do 500. This might be 1,000 run, so they have to get
They
1,000.
do two versions, and for this one, I would think if we do 1,000. The one I got, that was
500.
1,000 limited edition. I believe my number for Flash is 56.
Right. So if you're
And
going to pre-order,
Emperor Ming is 209.
Right. Okay. Right. So I normally tell you how many how many they're doing of the run. The of the DeLorean, I can't see how many they're doing.
You
So
see, I want the
DeLorean
DeLorean. That's 900 quid. And I want Marty McFly, especially because I like the third film. So I'd like him with the cowboy hat and the poncho.
This is the one I'm getting. Wait, to fire it up.
Hi, Cam.
This is the one I'm getting. What if I share your screen? Yeah. That's the one I'm getting.
Oh, absolutely. And the face looks really good.
Yeah.
Although I would say there is not that chin dip.
I bet you Bruce Campbell's already got it.
Oh, you can guarantee.
Yeah.
But that's the one I'm getting. I definitely want that one. You look at the parts you get with it. You get the Necronomicon as well. The Book of the Dead, the chainsaw, the dagger, the zombie hand,
the chainsaw it would be everything that would matter to me, and then obviously flipping.
No, it's boomstick. You need the boomstick.
No, chainsaw. I love boomstick, but chainsaw and flipping the bird, that's the combination that would go up on my collectible shelf.
Yeah, see the boomstick. He would this is how he's going to get done in mines. That one. That's how he's going to get displayed on my shelf. The boomstick front center, the chainsaw down low. But there is that one. That's what I want, and I'll show you what's on my wish list. This is on my wish list. Get to see this one. Come on, buddy. See, it's not. It's there's so many good quality images on this. I'm not surprised it's a wee bit slow. They've got some really good one. They've got Commander Koenig from Space 1999.
Oh yeah, I was after the Virgil Tracy figurine they did, but I never got a chance to get one. I love it.
Look at that. This is what I'm wanting.
Oh yes,
Stan and Laurie. It's basically they're doing a 5 set, and it's the two of them together you're buying.
Yeah, and you do have that. And these two are actually the first one I got physical hands on, and obviously being I know I paid money for them, but I'm looking at the Laura and the Hardy ones, and I'm seeing the hands, the tips, like holding the brim of your hats and everything. It is definitely, at least for me, worthwhile getting.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to,
it really
as I say, twist the arms, be able to get the good posture and everything. And then you can take photographs or display them in a display case.
Yeah,
whatever
there's three. There's three of that set. There's the Captain Scarlet, Captain Blue, and Captain Black.
If I had the money, I would get all three.
Yeah, £190 each. I know. They are expensive, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
they're
but
amazing.
the thing is, they look like the puppets.
Yes,
they look like the puppets, especially.
They only do one Thunderbirds one, Lady Penelope.
Yeah, they had. Yeah, because the others got discontinued.
Yeah, but they do have other Thunderbird stuff, but they're statues rather than. So they are. Is it down at the bottom? Oh no, it's not there. Where is it? Was it? I thought it was actually statues.
We've got Dead's
Yeah, they're there.
Oh yes, yeah, they're the ones I wanted.
Yeah, they're all sold out.
I know. I was too late. I was too late.
I know, but it's just amazing the details in some of them.
Well,
so we'll stop that. Right, what we'll do is we'll finish there. We'll finish that there because otherwise we could go through Big Chief.
I know.
And go, I want that. 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 Anybody want to buy my house because I want that. I want that. And I want that.
I want that one.
See, just take my money, just take my salary, and just give me them. But no, they're absolutely stunning. So they are.
Yeah.
And hi, Cam. Ming and Flick, they're stunning figures. I want to actually. Oh, they just look. It's the same as when I saw the guys like Az and I think maybe their figures. I'm sitting there going, oh, I want to actually physically see them. Jim's in the lucky point. He actually physically got his hands on two, so he knows what the quality's like. We can only see and talk and get told, but I want. So it's just one of the things. The DeLorean looks absolutely stunning.
The DeLorean is definitely my next target, but I will give you this. If we ever meet up at a con here in UK, I'll bring them along. Yep. You'll be able to admire them if you have clean hands.
Yeah. See, next month, I'm down in England again. Unfortunately, it's for work. It's down in Southampton for 2 days, then Thurrock for 2 days. And there's no even a chance to even take a side detour.
You're not far from me.
Oh, we could probably jump up to where you are.
Aye, but that's so I'm 2 days working in Southampton and 2 days working in Thurrock. So the problem is it's 2 days working. So
if you're in Thurrock, let me know. I can come and visit you like one evening for a drink or something.
Aye, because we're basically the Monday we fly down to Southampton. We're there all the rest of Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, I think we're going by train up to Thurrock. And then we're going out for a meal on Wednesday night, and then Thursday, and then back up to Glasgow Thursday night.
Well, if
so
you
it's
find
literally that's our timetable. It's just unfortunate because it's a case of that's what I'm saying.
Ping me the details. I'll try to figure it out because I'm one of those fortunate bastards, and I do mean bastards. I can work anywhere I have an internet connection.
Yeah,
I just need my laptop and my work phone.
Yeah, we have to do some physical stuff. That's why we're travelling down. But it's the same as my wife's been down to the Chelsea Flower Show with my mother-in-law.
Oh, that's coming up.
So it's just a case of I'm not because I've got to stay around for the dogs. So anyway, ladies and gents, we are going to finish up there with a fantastic A movie and B absolutely fantastic figures.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I have no regrets.
So jealous. so jealous. Not that I keep having to say so jealous. But so jealous. Jealous! So, but that's enough. I'm going to say no more. So, Jim, Alec, and Wend, thank you for joining us. And guys,
You're welcome.
thank you for sticking with us for this amazing corny movie, which is fun. We will be back next Wednesday. We will be here on Saturday for Let's Talk Geeky, but next Wednesday we will be back. We don't know what movie, but stay tuned and we'll let you know. So until
I'll give one very short thing because you have your Wolfman. Wen's got her Nosferatu. Ming may appear in future episodes.
Good. And the good thing is, Wen might go, I could go,
I'll just go pathetic humans.
I don't know what to say.
Thunderbirds are go.
FAB.
So, ladies and gents, thank you for sticking with us. And see you on Saturday and next Wednesday. But until then, remember, I'm not old. I'm classic. PJ, maybe, Jim, and Alex, thank you for sticking with us. And bye, guys.